Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, and were they gullible enough to fall into it?
The walls inside Buckingham Palace are reportedly shaking again, and Meghan Markle is not smiling for Instagram today.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
Right, so the palace has decided that poking the Sussex hornet's nest wasn't quite dramatic enough, so they've gone nuclear and launched investigations into Archie and Lilibet's birth records. Yes, you heard that correctly. The royal family, masters of sweeping things under exquisitely expensive carpets, has apparently decided that Harry and Meghan's children's births need a proper look-see. And Harry? Harry is absolutely livid. We're talking next-level fury here, folks. This isn't just a strongly worded statement through a spokesperson. This is blood-boiling, solicitor-calling, tell-all interview-threatening rage. Quick favor, if you're loving this royal chaos, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell to keep getting the latest updates on Canadian and UK politics. Cheers if you did. Now back to the show. Let's set the scene properly because this story has layers like a particularly complicated trifle. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, or as the tabloids prefer, the runaway royals, have 2 children. Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor, born in May 2019, and Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, born in June 2021. Both births were surrounded by controversy, secrecy, and enough speculation to fuel 1,000 conspiracy theories. And now, years later, Buckingham Palace has apparently decided that those birth records deserve official scrutiny. The timing? Spectacularly suspicious. The implications? Absolutely explosive. Now, before we dive deeper into this magnificent mess,
Years she thought she could outsmart the monarchy with glossy PR statements, curated photo shoots, and dramatic Oprah monologues, acting like royal traditions were merely optional, like a casual dress code at a Hollywood brunch.
People think her kids are fake, they think they're AI, they think they're borrowed kids, like all these sorts of things.
let's address the obvious question: why on earth would the palace investigate birth records of their own family members' children? What could possibly justify this level of institutional paranoia? Well, here's where it gets properly juicy. There have been persistent rumors, whispers really, about irregularities surrounding both births. Questions about why Archie's birth certificate was amended months after his birth. Questions about the lack of traditional royal birth announcements. Questions about why Lilibet was born in California with seemingly minimal royal acknowledgement. And apparently, someone at the palace has decided these questions need official answers. The timing of this investigation is about as subtle as a brass band at a funeral. Harry's been relatively quiet lately. No major interviews. No bombshell documentaries. No books threatening to expose more royal secrets. Things were almost, dare we say it, calm. And then the palace drops this investigation news like a constitutional hand grenade. Either the timing is spectacularly unfortunate coincidence, or someone at Buckingham Palace has decided that peace with Harry was overrated anyway. Smart money's on the latter. Let's talk about what these investigations actually involve, because it's not like the palace can just ring up California hospitals and demand medical records. That's not how any of this works.
Because of Meghan and Harry.
But suddenly, the palace has allegedly opened a discreet internal investigation into Archie and Lilibet's birth documentation, christening validity and lineage requirements. And Meghan is said to be pacing around Montecito like a reality star who just learned.
What they can investigate, however, is the documentation that exists within royal records. Birth announcements, official registrations, the line of succession paperwork, whether proper protocols were followed, whether information provided to the Privy Council was accurate and complete. It's bureaucratic warfare dressed up in official language, and it's absolutely brilliant in its pettiness. Archie's birth certificate situation was always dodgy, wasn't it? It was originally registered with Rachel Meghan as the mother's name. Then, about a month later, it was changed to Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. At the time, this was explained as correcting an error to match royal protocol. Fair enough. Except now the palace is apparently questioning whether the change was appropriate, whether the original registration was accurate, and whether the entire process followed proper procedures. It's like auditing someone's tax returns from 5 years ago. Technically legitimate, but absolutely designed to cause maximum annoyance. And then there's Lilibet. Named after the Queen's childhood nickname, born in California, and barely acknowledged by the
that the reunion episode isn't scripted in her favor.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof.
The official announcement was perfunctory at best. No traditional gun salutes. No elaborate palace statements. Just a brief acknowledgement that the Sussexes had welcomed a daughter. Now, apparently, someone's decided to investigate whether Lilibet's birth was properly registered with royal authorities, whether her position in the line of succession was correctly documented, and whether all necessary protocols were observed. This is extraordinarily petty, and I am absolutely here for it. But here's where this gets from petty to potentially devastating. Questions about the children's births inevitably lead to questions about the children themselves, their parentage, their legitimacy in the line of succession, their royal status. These aren't just administrative queries. These are existential questions that could theoretically impact whether Archie and Lilibet are considered legitimate members of the royal family. Now, obviously, legally speaking, there's no question about their parentage or legitimacy. But the mere fact that the palace is investigating creates doubt, creates gossip, creates exactly the kind of toxic speculation that will follow these children for the rest of their lives. And Harry knows this. He knows exactly what game is being played here. This isn't about dotting administrative I's and crossing bureaucratic T's. This is about sending a message. This is about reminding Harry that the institution he walked away from still has power over his family. Still has the ability to question, investigate, and potentially undermine his children's royal status. It's a power play wrapped in official procedures, and it's making Harry absolutely furious. Let's talk about what Harry's response has been, because it's not subtle. Sources close to the Sussexes, and by sources we mean Meghan's bestie who conveniently chats to friendly journalists, say Harry is considering this a declaration of war. He's apparently been on the phone with lawyers. He's reportedly drafting statements. He's allegedly considering everything from legal action to another tell-all interview. The palace poked the bear, and the bear is considering all options including mauling everyone in sight. But here's the truly diabolical part of this palace strategy. What can Harry actually do? He can rage all he wants, but these are internal royal investigations. They're not public legal proceedings he can challenge in court. They're not media stories he can sue over. They're administrative processes conducted entirely within the royal family's own structures. Harry walked away from that structure.
That she popped out both babies herself.
This isn't minor gossip, this isn't a tabloid headline, and this isn't Meghan controlling a narrative with Spotify metaphors. This is constitutional. The monarchy is not a Netflix show where plot twists get rewritten at the 11th hour. Royal lineage demands provable biological origins, traceable medical witnesses, and Anglican christening records that actually...
He moved to California. And now he's discovering that walking away doesn't mean the institution stops having power over aspects of his life. That's not just frustrating, that's absolutely maddening. The succession implications here are genuinely fascinating in a watching a slow-motion car crash kind of way. Archie is currently 6th in line to the throne. Lilibet is 7th. Now, realistically, neither is likely to ever be monarch. There are too many people ahead of them, and Harry's children living in America makes their succession even more theoretical. But theoretically isn't the same as legally. If these investigations conclude that there were irregularities in how their births were registered or announced, could that theoretically impact their position in the line of succession? Probably not. Legally speaking, they're Harry's children, end of story. But the palace doesn't need to actually change anything. They just need to create enough doubt and gossip to make everyone question it. Mission accomplished. Let's discuss the Meghan factor, because you know this isn't just about Harry. Meghan's reportedly even more furious than Harry, which is saying something. She's apparently convinced this is personal vendetta dressed as administrative diligence. She's not wrong. The royal family has never forgiven Meghan for the Oprah interview, for the Netflix documentary, for the various tell-all moments where she painted the institution as cold, racist, and unwelcoming. And now, years later, they've found a way to strike back that's technically legitimate but obviously vindictive. It's brilliant. It's awful.
Christening records that actually exist. Yet Meghan behaves as if the monarchy should just take her word for it, because she once held a baby bump in front of a paparazzi lens.
Meghan entered this world like it was a Hollywood set, assuming she could rewrite the script, center herself in every scene, and edit out anything that didn't fit her narrative.
Rumors are swirling that the palace finally noticed what millions—
Awful. The public relations aspect of this is absolutely fascinating. The palace hasn't made any official announcement about these investigations. All the information has come through carefully placed leaks to friendly journalists. That's not accident. That's strategy. By leaking rather than announcing, the palace maintains plausible deniability. They can claim these are routine administrative reviews if pressed. But the leaks ensure maximum publicity and maximum pressure on Harry and Meghan. It's media manipulation at its finest, and whoever planned this deserves a raise or possibly a war crimes tribunal. Either way, it's impressively calculated. Now, let's talk about what happens next, because this story is far from over. If Harry responds publicly, he plays into the palace's hands. He looks defensive. He looks like he's protesting too much. But if he stays silent, the investigation proceeds, the gossip mills churn, and his children's legitimacy gets questioned in perpetuity. It's a lose-lose situation, which is exactly what the palace intended. They've backed Harry into a corner where any move he makes looks bad. That's not just clever, that's diabolical. The Canadian and UK connection here is important, too. Harry's technically still a British prince, even if he lives in California. His children, despite being American-born, are in the British line of succession. These investigations raise questions about how Commonwealth countries, including Canada, view the line of succession. If there are legitimate questions about proper royal procedures being followed, does that impact how Commonwealth realms recognize royal authority? Probably not in any practical sense, but constitutionally? It's complicated enough to give royal watchers headaches for years. What's absolutely mental about this entire situation is that we're in 2024, nearly 2025, and the royal family is still operating like it's 1824. Birth records, lines of succession, proper protocols for announcing royal births. This is medieval thinking dressed in modern bureaucracy. Harry and Meghan tried to modernize, tried to bring some 21st century sensibility to the institution, and the institution responded by investigating their children's birth certificates. You cannot make this up. This is real life, and it's more absurd than any satirist could imagine. The impact on Archie and Lilibet themselves is what makes this truly sad beyond the political theater. These are children. They didn't choose this. They didn't ask to be born into royal drama. And now their births, their very existence, is being investigated by an institution that should be protecting them. When they're old enough to Google themselves, they'll find articles questioning the legitimacy of their birth registrations. They'll find speculation about whether they're really royal. They'll find this entire mess. And that's not the palace being protective. That's the palace being vindictive at the expense of children. That's not just wrong, that's unforgivably cruel. Harry's fury makes complete sense when you frame it this way. This isn't about him. This isn't about Meghan. This is about his kids. And there's nothing that will make a parent angrier than their children being targeted. The palace might think they're playing sophisticated institutional chess, but what they've actually done is guarantee that Harry will fight back with everything he's got. You can mess with Harry. You can mess with Meghan. But the moment you go after their children, that's when negotiations end and war begins. The ultimate irony here is that the royal family has spent decades trying to modernize its image, trying to seem relevant, trying to connect with younger generations. And then they pull something like this, which makes them look petty, vindictive, and stuck in the past. This isn't protecting the monarchy. This is reminding everyone why Harry left in the first place. It's spectacularly counterproductive, unless the actual goal is driving Harry further away and ensuring he never reconciles with the family. In which case, brilliant work, absolutely brilliant. So where does this leave us? With investigations that probably won't conclude anything definitive but will create years of speculation. With Harry furious and considering all options. With Meghan convinced this is personal warfare. With 2 children whose births are now official subjects of royal scrutiny. And with a monarchy that's just demonstrated it values institutional procedure over family relationships. Nobody wins here. Everybody loses. And the British tabloids couldn't be happier because this story will run for months. Welcome to modern royalty, where centuries-old institutions clash with California-based reality, and the casualties are always the people caught in between. Thanks for watching, folks. Epic Icons News, your home for royal chaos and political drama.